Hello guys, we're again to clearance theme, and this time we'll be looking at rank clearance. Rank and square clearance, let's say, combined. We start our video with a very nice example of the game Labordone against a McDonald. White has an extra pawn and has a fantastic attack around the black king, but there is not enough squares to give the check, and on rook on g5 pretty much disturbs white to continue the attack. So if we imagine that there was no rook on g5, then we could see that there would be a mate on g5. So white really needs this g5 square, and that's why it was played in the game rook h5. The clearance of the rank and the square of g5, bishop h5 and queen g5 mate. A very simple and nice example of rank clearance. Let's move on, and we have a very nice opening type of example. So there is a Marazzi type of structure, and white has a big advantage that the knight on f6 is pinned, but the direct knight d5 doesn't give anything, because after bishop d5 there won't be any more threats on f6 knight. So what white needs is somehow to get to h4 square and get the knight on e4. This gives the ideas for white to break through in the center with e5. de5 is the only move, and after queen h4, keeping the tension on the f6 knight so that black queen cannot escape and go anywhere. Also, we see that after queen h4 there will be some kind of ideas on d5. So queen e7 and simple knight e4 wins the piece. Let's go on, and we have a game Rosenkarten-Schlemmer. Black has a very strong passed pawn on c2, which actually can promote into queen, but after c1 then white is in time to mate black king with queen f8, king g6, if king h5, then after queen f7 black cannot escape the mate, because after king h6 there is queen h7 mate, and after king g6 also queen f7, and king f5 does not help because all the squares around the king are controlled, and queen h7 gives the mate as well. So black here came up with a brilliant idea to clear the rank for the rook, which is f2 pawn, the target. So after queen h1, to decoy the king into an unpleasant square for him, king h1, and now queen c1 queen with the check. So king h2 is not possible. King h2 is not possible because of rook f2 mate. And after king g2, queen c6, again the same position, but now we see there is no more c2 pawn, and the rank is clear for black. So after king h2 there is a mate rook f2, king g1 and queen g2. And if white king goes to g1, then he will have problems on back rank after rook b1, king h2 and rook h1. I think this example demonstrates very well the rank clearance, and let's go to the game of Ch14 against Ch14. Very complicated position. White pieces are active and it seems that the king is pretty safe because the knight protects the king very well from any checks, but it's kind of stuck on c8 and around him there are no available free squares. But what white needs in this position is somehow to give check on h3 c8 diagonal, which gives an idea for a very nice move. Knight c5, clearing the rank for the queen. So now obviously the threat is queen g4. B takes c5. Logically, let's see what happens. But after queen g4, knight d7, rook d7 is completely hopeless for black. Rook d7 doesn't help because after rook d7, the queen is under attack, and if it goes somewhere else, there is no safe place actually for queen. For example, queen f8, then after rook d8, there is a very beautiful mate. King has to take the d8 rook and queen d7. So queen g4, so after knight c5, f5. It is logical that f5 protects this h3 c8 diagonal, but actually knight c5 helps white to give the check on d7, bishop d7, knight d7. Rook d7 doesn't make any sense because white will just take the rook and will be exchange up with completely winning position. So after knight d7, queen a8, knight b8, queen b7 mate. So also f5 doesn't help, and after knight c5, let's see what happens if simple rook d5. This is not escape for black as well, because after queen g4, black cannot go anywhere safe. King d8 is not an option because of knight b7 mate, and black should play something like rook d7, and after knight d7 they are completely lost. So knight c5, and let's see one more option for black, which is h5. Again controlling the g4 square, but after the same bishop d7, knight d7, queen a8, knight b5, there is a very nice mate on b7. Now I want to show you why knight c5 is so important. Because if, for example, white decided to play bishop d7 right away, then after rook d7, well, knight d7 here is not an option for black, because after rook d7, there is a mate on a8. So bishop d7, rook takes d7, and after rook d7, knight d7, and rook d7 again, it's important to see that queen d7 is not an option because of queen a8 mate. But I hope here you will find a pin. which actually leaves white with last position. I hope you managed to find this strong move, and it is Queen E8. A perfect move, and we can say that this is a little trap for white, because after Queen E8 white has not any good moves. After Queen A8, king just takes on D7. Rook D4 or any other moves doesn't go, because Rook D4 is simple, Bishop D4, and the queen is defended on E8. And if, for example, white decides to play something like H3 or G3, then the threat is, can you find it? Again, decoy B5. Queen has to take the B5, and now we see that there is no open file for the queen, and after Queen B5, Queen takes D7, black is just winning. I hope you enjoyed the examples. Thank you for watching. See you soon!